My name is Steve Kane. I was a pastor for 24 years and specialised most of that time for 15 years in youth work for the church. And then I just felt God calling me to a slightly different ministry of building the kingdom of God by building leaders who build other leaders. And that came about because I saw so many great people in our church family who had good skills, but one of the areas that sometimes let them down was their leadership. And I thought, how can I add value into that space? And so I do training for corporate companies, for non-profit organisations and schools. I've got a student leader and role model program. And so I do a whole variety of things, and I find it really interesting working in those different environments. So if you want to, pull out your phones. This is, you'll see the website that we have. So after this, if training and that, if you'd like to know more or see what are some of the things that we can do, you can just put your camera up there, and if it'll automatically come up on your screen, and you can go in and see the website there. But if you want to improve your capabilities, I just love helping people get better, and that's what we do. But particularly love helping people who are kingdom people, who are followers of God, and helping them because I know that they're going to make a massive impact through the power of God. So remember, in our journey of learning and growing as a leader, it's not how fast will I get there, but it's how far will I go is the wiser question. So I want you to have that in the back of your minds as we start off this afternoon, because it's not a race. Leadership is a marathon. It really is. And the attitude that you should have, in life, one of the most powerful attitudes you can have is that of humility, because you will not learn anything, you will not grow if you're not humble. We have to humble ourselves and open ourselves up to learning something new, so that we can do something better. And so humility is a really key attitude that I want to encourage you to embrace. So let's get into it. In your guidebooks there, I want you to go to the page that says the importance of leadership. So skip past the welcome cover page. You can read that later, and we'll get into leadership. I'm really passionate about leadership because I know the difference it can make. Who's worked on an awesome team before? Anyone had that experience? Nothing sweeter than a team of people that are just really focused on doing something special and working in well together. Who has worked on a really horrible team before? Did you love it? Still scarred from it? So when we think about teams and how we lead teams, it makes a huge difference how you lead. And what if you built your skills in leadership so you could see more of what God's placed on your heart and mind to achieve and do? So I'm a Maxwell speaker, coach and trainer, so a lot of this material comes from there. And John Maxwell says, developing yourself to become a leader you have the potential to be will change everything for you. It will add to your effectiveness, subtract from your weaknesses, and divide your workload, and it'll multiply your impact. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But that's what good leadership does. What could change if you developed as a leader? Just think about that. Why is it that you can put someone in charge of a carload of people and they'll be okay? Put that same person in charge of a minibus full and they fall over. But other people, you can give them a whole big bendy bus full of people. They're fine. They could manage that whole thing. Other people you can give 1,000 people to and they could lead just fine. Other people 10,000 or hundreds of thousands. No problems at all. So what's the difference between you and someone who can lead hundreds of thousands of people? All as it is knowing some skills and cultivating some of your capacity that you have for leadership. The world becomes a better place when people become better leaders. What do you think about that? Is your ADRA group down at Karen better because you're in it? What about your youth ministry or whatever other ministry you're coming from today? How are you making it better? How can you lead? And you don't have to be the leader to lead. You can, nowadays we talk about a team of leaders, and there's a leader of a team of leaders, right? So how can you lead better in your space? Shifts in thinking about leadership. In the 60s, so in your notes there, this, you want to just where you wake up and go, oh, yeah, okay. I hate filling things in. Oh, okay, get your pencils out. Come on. All right, let's go. In the 60s, leadership was more autocratic. A-U-T-O, auto, and cratic, C-R-A-T-I-C, autocratic. And this is where people said, I'm the leader and you do what I say. Now, depending on what culture you come from, sometimes there's more autocratic cultures than others, isn't there? I know sometimes with in certain situations that I've been in, traveling the world in different countries, a leader just says, right, this is what's happening, and everyone has to go, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, and you have to snap to it. And if you don't snap to it, you're going to get snapped. Okay, so that's in the 60s, though, in Western countries, it was mostly autocratic. In the 80s, so 80s, leadership was about managing people. I'm the leader and I manage the people in my team. But I don't know about you, but did anyone ever enjoy being managed? Anyone out there say, I love it when someone else tries to manage me. Okay, I don't like being managed. Most people don't like the feeling of being managed, right? So we moved into the late 90s, early 2000s, and leadership has shifted towards inspiration and empowerment. I lead a team of leaders. People want to know that you can be given a task and set free to lead in it without being micromanaged and all that. They just want to be trusted. They want to be empowered to do something. They want to be trained and developed so they can do what they do and do it really well. So the landscape the organisations live in has shifted from stable and steady to one of just constant change and innovation. All the technological advancements, for example, have meant that there are new ways of thinking and doing things, and the ability to work and organise remotely, i.e. during COVID, for example, many people just worked from their computer screens and had meetings around the world and around Australia and all those things. It's not uncommon for a team in the 21st century to never physically be in the same room together. Things have changed. Some people are regular church attenders, but they don't attend a physical church. They attend an online church. But we can still, regardless of some of those changes, we can still create transformation and change with God's help. The new normal in leadership has become inspiration, inspiring individual team members with a worthy vision and fueling that internal motivation to go, yeah, I want to go for that. Engagement, engaging team members through the utilisation of strengths. So in your workplaces or in your ministries, if you can don't worry about your weaknesses so much. We don't focus as much on that anymore. It's about how can you develop the strengths that you have. And yes, work on some weaknesses if they're hindering you in your roles. Yes, improve them, but don't focus on it. Focus on your strengths and what you bring to the table in your strength areas. That's what's great about working in a team. If everyone's using their strengths, the team's powerful. But if you've got people in the wrong spot and they're using their weaknesses in their spot, it's a pretty horrible team to be a part of. Why would you have a front rower out on the wing? You know what I mean? Doesn't work real well. So putting people in the right place, engaging their strengths. Empowerment, it's all about empowerment now through scope to act, stretch assignments, giving people little, hey, I know this might be not quite in your wheelhouse, but I believe that you have the capacity, and I was wondering if I can give you this other little task. It might stretch a bit maybe, but would you be up for it? So you're giving people this empowerment to grow and develop. Flexibility. Processes must serve the end goal and flexibility to make changes on the fly. You have to be flexible. You might have a process, but if the process is getting in the way of getting the job done, you need to be flexible a little bit. Not so flexible that no one ever knows what's happening and how it should happen, all right? But you have to be flexible when you're working with people. They don't come in a white clinical suit and a straitjacket, all right? They're different. Everyone's different. So you've got to be flexible in how things happen. The other thing that leaders are now is very intentionally action-oriented through short burst sprints to achieve near goals. So some of you might know about Agile. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But it's a way of getting projects and things finished. But it's more about short sprints to achieve near goals. And so you got to be going, okay, people don't have 10-year plans and 5-year plans used to be a norm. Now it's like 12-month plans, 6-month plans, 3-year plans as well. That's way out there, okay? So these are some of the shifts that have happened in the landscape in the 21st century in leadership. So let's define, yes?
Just quickly, what would you say is from your experience, are you seeing most corporate church, whatever, still in the managing stage, the 80s stage?
Look,
seeing that transition.
Yeah, the companies that are really sort of advancing and going ahead, they're definitely more in that enabling, empowering, inspiring. We have a team of leaders mode.
If you saw the whole, like the industry, people obviously who want you to speak, obviously they're already on that journey.
Yes, yeah. Look, there are some environments that, it's so diverse, but a lot of the ones that are moving forward now, because other people they don't like, particularly millennials and Gen Z, they don't like the old school ways of being managed anymore. So they'll just walk with their feet. People don't leave companies, they leave people, generally. People don't leave ministries, they leave people in the ministry. People don't leave the ADRA teams, they leave people in the ADRA teams, right? And so that's why it's important. Our first session was on moving beyond communicating to connecting. So why don't many people develop as leaders? John, I'll try to give you a better answer after. While there is growing recognition of the value of good leadership, not many people work intentionally towards becoming a better leader. And here are some of the assumptions that people have. And maybe one of these is your assumption. Number one, I'm not a born leader. So you can write that in. I'm not a born leader. Who's ever said that? Oh, I'm not a born leader, so I can't lead. Okay, that's a very common one. Number two, a title and seniority, or seniority. A title and seniority will automatically make me a leader. So when someone gives me a title one day, you're now the grand poobah of the ADRA team on Community X. Oh yeah, now I've got a title, suddenly I'm a leader. No, it doesn't work like that. All you've got is a title, right? But it doesn't make you a leader. You've seen many people with titles but no leadership skills, okay? So that doesn't work out. Number three, work experience will automatically make me a leader. Oh, no, it won't. Reflected experience, yes, but just experience. Some people have the same experience, but they might have 10 years experience, but it's only really 1 year's experience 10 times over. Okay, so you don't want to be in that category. You want to be in the ones that kind of reflect on what happened and how can I improve from it, okay? Then you've got real experience. Number four, I'm waiting until I get a position to start developing as a leader. So once I get the position, then I'll start thinking about it. John Wooden was a famous basketball coach. He was famous for taking losing teams and turning them around to be just absolute champions. But for him, it wasn't just about what the players did on the court, it was who they were off the court. They had to get high grades. They had to stretch in their life and grow and develop and mature, and that was important to him. He said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So don't wait for an opportunity to be given an official leadership role. Start preparing now. Practice leading from wherever you are. Okay, so what is leadership though? What is it? Well, in the Maxwell team, we say that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Because if you can't influence somebody, how are you ever going to achieve something with a group of people? You have to be able to influence. Now, all of you, if the definition of leadership is influence, all of you have leadership ability because each of you sitting here influence somebody. It's just a matter of how much influence do I have. But you can grow your influence. Okay? Leadership, James C. George's, leadership is the ability to obtain followers. To invite someone along to the journey you move away from me to we. Hey, come on this journey with me. Leadership's the ability to connect with people and help them work together as a team to achieve a desired, worthwhile goal. So connect with people and work together as a team to achieve a desired, worthwhile goal. That's what leaders do. So influence is the beginning of true leadership. And as you evaluate your life, where can you increase your influence in your leadership? Say if you're already on a team, how can I increase my influence? Well, you've got to increase it by connecting with people. And the more you connect with people, the greater the influence you have, and the more likely you are to have them engage with you in helping make change together. We're in it together. So here's some insights about influence. Number one, everyone influences someone. Everyone sitting here influences someone. That's the first insight. Number two, we don't always know who or how much we influence. Never underestimate the power of your influence. You can have a massive influence without even knowing it. I bet you every one of you here at some point had someone come to you. Do you remember when you said to me 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you said something and, well, that day I've never forgotten it. And you're like, oh, did I? Oh, that's great. I'm really glad that was important for you, you know. You don't know the influence that you have, so don't underestimate it. Number three, the best investment in tomorrow is to develop your influence today. Some people have a foot in yesterday and they've got a foot in tomorrow, which means you have no foot in today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start thinking about how can I influence today. So where are you leading someone now that you could expand your influence with them and with the team? We're going to look at so that's a little bit of background. So what is leadership? Leadership is? Influence. And it's the ability to take a team of people and help them achieve a desired and worthwhile goal. Okay? Leadership, influence. You influence people. Okay, now, how do you have a structure around your leadership? Well, there's 5 levels of leadership, and once you know these, it'll make life very easy for you as a leader. So the first level of leadership, level 1 of leadership, is position. You got a title, you got a position, you got a role. Okay, so that's level 1, the lowest level of leadership. And at this level, people follow you because they have to. Positional leaders look for security based on their title more than their talent. Positional leaders rely on their leaders' influence instead of their own. Who's ever been on a team and they've said, let's just have fun with Adra for a moment, okay? We need to do this because Beck Orient at the head office said that this is how we should operate now. So are you relying on your own leadership influence at that point? Or who's are you borrowing, Donna, at that point? Yeah, you're borrowing Beck's leadership influence, and because you don't feel like you've got enough to say it yourself, so you borrow on somebody else's, and then that's positional leadership. You're at level 1 when you do that, right? Now, you might do that sometimes because, I need them to do it, so I'll call on some higher power, someone that you think is above you, and I'll say, the pastor said we should, auntie so-and-so said, in the back row, she nods her head. I know in Polynesian culture, old auntie sits up the back, and particularly Cook Islands or some elder man maybe, and everyone's the leaders up the front, and they say, we're going to do this, and they look over at the real leader, and if old auntie or uncle up the back goes, the person up the front goes, we are going to do this. All right, that's positional leadership. Okay, so they rely on the leader's influence instead of their own. Positional leaders can't get people to follow them beyond their defined authority. Anything outside that little gap, they go, no, don't be telling me what to do. There's no way I'm following you. Who do you think you are? You're the this or that, You're just the leader. You think you're the leader, but you're not. Okay. So how did working with a positional leader, how did that hinder your growth? They're not real fun to work with. Hey, I need you to do this because I'm the boss. Does anyone love that when they've heard it? Does anyone say, can't wait. Thank you. All right. Strange you mentioned you're the boss. We hadn't noticed. Okay. Level 2 is permission. So first of all, you go in with a title, okay? And then level 2 is permission. You've got to win people's permission to lead them. And this is about relationship. People follow you because they want to. So if you've been given a leadership position, then you've been given your boss's permission to lead. If you have earned influence on level 2, then you can acquire your people's permission to lead. So how do you gain permission to lead others? You show interest in them. You value them. So first of all, you get a job or a role, make sure you do a good job in your role. Understand your role, fulfill your role. That's how you win level 1. Winning level 2, you got to win the relationships with people on your team. So that's the next step you do, win the relationship. Third step is production. The third level of leadership is production. This is where people follow you because of what you've done for the organisation. You can't just be high-fiving everyone around a water cooler at church. Sooner or later, and have nice conversations with one another, sooner or later you've got to get the team to actually produce and do something, right? Otherwise, what are you there for? You've got this big team, but they're always sitting on the bench. What's the purpose of that? Okay, so you've got to move beyond to production. And be aware that most people naturally gravitate to either permission or production based on whether they're people-oriented or they've got mobile phones. Okay, let's move that. Okay, either they're people-oriented or they're task-oriented. So you're task-oriented if you're sitting in a meeting and you're going, for goodness sake, they've been talking on and on and on. We've got other things to do on the agenda. How come we're not moving on yet? Put your hand up if you're more task-oriented. You just want to get stuff done. You start getting a bit antsy if there's way too much talk. You've got places to be. Okay, task. Put your hand up if you think you're people-oriented. You just love, sometimes you forget that there's an agenda for the meeting. You're having so much fun. You thought the meeting was a comedy show. And oh, yeah, that's right. We're here to discuss Pathfinders. Okay. Oh, what do you mean? It's 10 o'clock? Okay. You're probably people-oriented. Okay, so depending on your natural bent, whether you're people-oriented or task-oriented, you will naturally lead at level 2 or level 3. So if you're a people-oriented person, you need to think about, I've got to win the next level. We've got to get stuff done on this team. And if you're a task-oriented people, you've got to say, listen, slow up, Bessie. I know there's stuff to get done, but you need to actually connect with the team. Otherwise, you're going to be walking around. He or she who thinks they lead and has no one following is merely taking a walk. You don't want to be that kind of task-oriented leader where you're suddenly without a team because you're not connecting with your team. So level 3 production. Are you driven by results or people? So this is the two, you've got to win both these levels. So if you're a naturally lead at level 3, you gotta try to. You can skip a level, but you have to win the level before sooner or later. Because if you go straight into all about the business and all about what needs to get done, and then you say, "Oh, could you stay back and help us?" Or "Can you? Sorry, don't have any. Can you help us this weekend?" They go, "Sorry, can't help you." Why? Because you haven't bothered winning the relationship with them. You're just positional with them, all right? And if you're just all about the people, you don't get stuff done. The people actually know how to get stuff done. They start leaving your team because they're tired of not getting anything achieved. And then you lose some really good people who could make the dream come true for you because you're just too busy people all the time. Okay, so level 4, once you've won level 3, you want to win level 4. Level 4 is people development. People development. People follow you because of what you have done for them. If your team's not great, you got 2 things. Either get new people on the team or you improve the people in the team. And I'd suggest show that you value them by saying, how can I improve their skills and abilities? So you've come this weekend to learn more about leadership, to improve your skills. That's level 4. So some leader, Beck, for example, has operated, and Phil have operated on level 4. They say, how can we improve and add value, further value to the people that are out there doing amazing things? How can we help them even more? So we want to build up their skills and abilities so they can do even more and have a greater impact for the King and the kingdom. Are you following me? So how can you develop your team? So no matter where you are, think, how can we develop the team members so they can even be better than what they are? That's level 4 leadership. People follow you at this level because of what you've done for them. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. Key questions to ask yourself at level 4. A, am I passionate about my personal growth? I love those people. See if you can finish this. You can take me as you... Okay, that worked really great. You can take me as you, it's an old expression. Take me as you find me. Okay, if you don't like it, you can lump it. Yeah, Beck did the more Aussie version. She's obviously out in the community doing community transformations. She's been transformed herself. Okay. Thanks. All right, just having a joke, Beck. Please don't cancel my flight on home, okay? All right, okay. All right, so am I passionate about my personal growth? Because if you're not passionate about your growing, if you're not growing as a leader, why would anyone else on your team grow? You got to lead by example. Leaders always go first. They lead by example, right? B, does my growth journey have credibility? I don't just go to some fancy leading in the 21st century training program and then go back and do nothing with it. I actually go, okay, how can I apply it? C, are people attracted to me because of my growth? Are people attracted to me because of my growth? I tell you who I'm attracted to. Most of the friends that I have that are close friends, they got a big vision for making things better. Most of the people I'm attracted to, they're ideas and possibility people. They're people who don't sit on the couch. They get out there and try to put it into action. They're the people that I get attracted to. Couch surfers, small ideas, always seeing problems, never possibilities. I just don't like hanging around with those people. I like flying with the eagles. If you want to be a duck, that's okay. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's probably a duck. Some people are happy to be, that thing. Other people, they want something different for their lives. Most people want something different for their lives. I want to encourage you to always be open to growing, and it's never too late to start. It doesn't doesn't matter so much how your story started. But you sure, and you can't change how that started often now, right at this point, but you sure can change how your story is going to finish. Yeah. That's what ADRA does. That's what church ministries do. They take people, they can't change what's happened in the first part of their story, but they can help them rewrite how the second part of their story is going to be. D, am I successful? That's the next page. Am I successful in the areas where I want to develop others? Try to develop others in the area that you're good at. Don't try to develop others in the areas you're not good at, right? Because you need to have that integrity that you do it too. Now, E, have I crossed over the spent time, invest timeline? So you've got to spend time and invest your time yourself to getting better and do that. Have you crossed over? F, do I have a teachable way of life? Are you teachable? Have you ever noticed the best leaders are very teachable and they're very humble? They can actually hear a different point of view. They may not agree with it, but they can listen to them all. They're teachable, they're open. Hey, that's a great idea. Thanks. Can you bring that to the team next time? That was awesome. Bring it to the team at our next meeting, because people need to hear that, right? Now there's a leader. Am I willing to be a vulnerable role model and coach? Share with people about some of your biggest stuff-ups. I've had some incredible stuff-ups as a leader. Really messed it up, right? And if you can't share, if it's all about, whenever you're sharing with your team, it's all about always your victories and how awesome you were in every situation, who wants to hear that? They want to hear about what you stuffed up and what you learnt from it, right? Everyone else knows your stuff up. They just want to know that you know. Yeah? Okay. H, do the people I develop succeed? Do they actually succeed? So that's some things to think about when you're looking to develop people. Okay, level 5, the final level, is pinnacle. And this level, people follow you because of who you are and what you represent. Now, level 5 depends on how you led at the previous 4 levels. You fulfilled your position real well. You then got permission from people to lead them. You connected with them. Then you got stuff happening, production. And then you people development. And finally, pinnacle. And this is where your team, because of who you are and what you've done, it's almost like at that level, if you say it, we'll do it. Because they trust you and they know that you have their best interests at heart. And at pinnacle level, you're known within your ministry or within your organisation for what you do, but you're also known for your strengths outside your organisation as well. Not a lot of people get level 5, and level 5 really is given to you by others, right? It's not something that you can conjure up. The only thing you can contribute to it is by what you do in the previous 4 levels. Okay, so let's just recap. There's a nice little thing there at the bottom of the page. The 5 levels of leadership. The little summary. So position is about rights. People follow you because they have to. Then permission is about relationships. They follow you because they want to. Level 3 is about results. People follow you because of what you've done for your ministry or the organisation. Level 4 is reproduction. People follow you because of what you have done for them. It also gives you more leaders to draw on because you've been building up the leadership skills of the team. So when you leave, there's plenty of leaders ready to take over. And level 5 is about respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. So here's a trick. What's your name? Your name? Yes. Sorry? Mrs. T. Okay, Mrs. T. Say, for example, I want you to think of a team you're on, and you go into that team and you think, I think I'm on level 3 with that team. Okay, so you go into that team, you have that meeting, but then you step out and you go into another meeting over here with another group of people. Now you're on level 3 over there with that group, but when you walk in here, what usually happens, leaders think they're on the same level no matter where they walk, but you're not. So when you walk out of that room, you come over this room, you might only be on level 1 or level 2. So if you come into this group and you're only on level 1, you go, first port of call, what have I got to do? Everyone help her out. What do we got to do? If we want to move to level 2, what do we got to do? We've got to build relationship. Right? Okay, now you know as a leader, Mrs. T knows in this group, I think I'm on level 1 with these guys, so I'm going to try to build relationship with them, increase my connection, understanding some of their hopes and dreams for the team and what we're trying to achieve. And once you have that with them, then I can finally move on to getting stuff done. Okay, so then you move on to level 3, all right, with the team. Okay, guys, let's do this, come on, let's roll. So you can miss a level, because sometimes when you do go into things, you do have to get stuff done straight away. But just remember, if you've missed the level, you've got to go back and win the levels before. Sooner or later, you have to win the ones before. Otherwise, you'll tank. You get to a certain spot, poof, and that's it. You won't go any further as a leader. So hopefully this helps you then now know that when you go into a team, you know exactly what you do in what order. And you know, okay, these are the steps I'll take behind the scenes as I work with a team. So, empowering others to reach their potential. Number 1, evaluate them. Remember that all people have the potential to succeed. Knowledge is not only power, it's empowering. So it's important when we're evaluating them, how's their knowledge? How can we empower them in that space? Skill. Nothing is more frustrating, put that in your notes, frustrating than being asked to do things for which you have no ability. Have you ever had that? Been given a task, I want you to do this do up this Excel spreadsheet. You go, Excel? I've used Excel once. How am I going to do this? Okay, it's frustrating. The other thing is desire. No amount of skill, knowledge, or potential can help people succeed if they don't have the desire to be successful. How big is your desire to see this thing happen that we're trying to do on this team? How big is it? And if it's a 1, then that person's not going to be helpful to you at all. If it's a 10 or an 8 and above, they're going to be really helpful. So to empower others for their potential, evaluate them. You have to get an idea of where they're at in knowledge, skill, desire. Okay? And then model for them. People do what people see. As a leader, you need to model the kind of how you want the team to be, you need to be. Number 3, give them permission to succeed. You have to help others believe they will succeed and show them what you want them, that you want them to succeed. You've got to help people believe, hey guys, we can actually do this. Might not look like it right now, but I believe we can do it. Because Christians believe first and then we see it. Some people say, I've got to see it and then I'll believe it. No, not as a Christian. We believe it and then we see it. But it's a great leadership principle as well when we're working with people. Okay, expect it. If you have an expectation for your people to be successful, they will know it. And verbalize it. People need to hear you tell them that you believe in them. So in coaching that I do, I often tell people, borrow some of my belief in you until you can believe in yourself. Because I believe that you can do this. Number 4, transfer authority on them. Empowering others is more than sharing your workload. It's sharing your power and ability to get things done. Transfer authority to them. Give people authority. Hey, I'm giving you full authority. Just go your hardest in this area. Go for it. The only time you need to come to me is A, B, C. Boom, the person's got a clear picture of what they can go off and do. Number 5, publicly show your confidence in them. As you raise up leaders, show them and their followers that they have your confidence and authority behind them. Number 6, supply them with feedback. Meet with them privately, mentor them, coach them through their mistakes, misuses, and miscues and misjudgments. They're going to make mistakes. You made mistakes, so don't expect your team to. So, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. What it's not okay is not to learn from our mistakes. Make that clear. You're not going to get in trouble if you make a mistake, but if you don't learn from it, then that's a problem, and we need to fix that. And number 7, release them to continue on their own. Give them as much freedom as possible as soon as they're ready for it. Give them freedom. Okay, and the results of empowerment, we're going to wrap up because we need to. Time's slipping by. Okay, we're over time. As you empower others, you'll find that most aspects of your life and leadership will change for the better. Okay. So we've got an application there. You can look at that on your own. That's it for today's session. And there's some questions there, but the application will help you. How can I place and how can I work on this? How can I step into this a little more? Thank you so much. I hope that has been helpful to you. And now you know the 5 levels of leadership, and you know some of the big picture things behind the scenes that wise leaders think about as they're leading their team. Thank you.